You've read Neville. Maybe not every book, maybe just the passages people share online, but you've spent enough time with his ideas that phrases like, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, don't need explaining to you anymore. Dot. You know what it means. At least, you think you do. Dot. And that's exactly where I want to start. Because there's a specific kind of person who ends up in a video like this. Not someone who just discovered manifestation last week. Not someone who's still trying to figure out if any of this is real. I'm talking about someone who already believes it. Someone who has done the work. Someone who sits down, closes their eyes, tries to inhabit the feeling of financial freedom, genuinely tries, and then opens their eyes 20 minutes later and quietly wonders why nothing has shifted. That's who this conversation is for. Dot. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because there's one thing Neville said that almost everyone misreads. And when you misread it, the whole method quietly stops working. Not dramatically, just it stops landing. Dot. And I think you felt that. The slight hollow feeling after a session that should have felt like arrival, but instead felt like rehearsal. That's what we're going to talk about today. Most people here assume the wish fulfilled and turn it into an emotional assignment. Like there's a feeling they need to locate inside themselves and hold steady, the way you'd hold a glass of water without spilling it. And so the whole practice becomes about maintenance, about not dropping the feeling, about checking periodically whether it's still there. That's not assumption, that's surveillance. Neville wasn't describing a feeling you generate. He was describing a conclusion you've already reached. And conclusions don't require maintenance. They just sit there, quiet, settled, not asking to be confirmed. Here's a more honest example of what a real assumption actually feels like. Think about your own name. You don't spend any part of your day affirming it. You don't visualize it. You don't hold a positive emotional state about being the person attached to that name. It simply never occurs to you to question it, not because you worked hard to believe it, but because the question doesn't exist for you anymore. That's the texture of a real assumption, not charged, not monitored, not maintained, just settled in a way that left the room years ago and never needed to come back. Now notice how different that feels from the way most people relate to financial abundance. The question is always still in the room, always still alive, always still waiting for an answer from the outside world. That alive question is what assumption is supposed to dissolve. Not answer, dissolve. Let me describe something to you and tell me if this sounds familiar. You get quiet. You settle your body. You start to imagine what financial ease might feel like. Not a number, just the feeling of things being okay. And for a few seconds, something real happens. There's a loosening, a small internal shift, something that genuinely feels like, yes, this is where I'm headed. And then, almost immediately, something in your mind does a small check. Is it working? Did I do it right? Should I feel more than this? Should I do it again tonight? And that check, that tiny, almost invisible audit, is the exact moment the assumption breaks. Because you only check on things that haven't arrived yet. That's not a small observation. That's the whole problem. The moment you start monitoring your practice for signs that it's working, you've told yourself, at a level much deeper than conscious thought, that you're still waiting. And waiting is the opposite of assuming. I want to make one distinction here as clearly as I can, because I think it's the thing that changes everything once you actually see it. Anticipation faces forward. It points towards something not yet here. It carries, even when it feels positive, a subtle tension. A leaning toward a future moment when things will finally be different than they are now. Assumption faces nowhere. It doesn't lean. It doesn't check. It doesn't need to maintain itself through repeated effort. It simply considers a thing already true and moves through the present moment from that place. Those two states feel almost identical from the inside. That's why so many people miss this. They believe they're assuming, but they're anticipating. They think they've settled into the wish fulfilled, but they're actually in a very refined, very disciplined form of waiting. And you know exactly which one you've been doing. Not because you're doing it wrong, because no one ever explained the difference at this level. They kept repeating, feel as if, and assumed the rest would take care of itself. It doesn't. And that gap, between the instruction and the actual lived experience of it, is exactly what this conversation is trying to close. Before I go further, if you want to go deeper into this kind of work between videos, we publish practical guides on identity shifting, self-concept work, and applying Neville's framework to real situations over at manifesttheinfinite.com. Worth a visit when you have a quiet moment. Now, the title of this video says prayer, and I want to be specific about what that means inside Neville's framework, because it has nothing to do with petition. Neville didn't think of prayer as asking. He thought of it as entering the state of the wish already fulfilled. Not to request it, not to earn it, but to inhabit it so completely that the asking becomes irrelevant. So what does that actually look like around money? Here's what financial tension looks like in a body. Not in a dramatic way, but in the way most people never notice because it's always been there. It's the half-second calculation that happens before you spend anything, even something small, even something you can clearly afford. There's a moment, almost below conscious thought, where something in you briefly does the math, checks the permission, makes sure it's okay. Most people assume that's just being responsible, but responsibility doesn't feel like a check. Responsibility feels like a choice. What most people are actually feeling in that half second is a low-grade financial vigilance that never fully clocks out. The prayer, in Neville's framework, is not about feeling wealthy. It's about letting that vigilance go offline. Not because the numbers changed, not because proof arrived, just, for 2 minutes, choosing not to be someone who is constantly on financial watch. That release, quiet as it is the assumption beginning to form. Neville spent a lot of time on what happens in the moments just before sleep. Not because he was interested in dreams exactly, but because he noticed something specific about that window. The part of your mind that spends all day arguing with possibility goes quiet first. And whatever state you're in when that happens, whatever you're silently treating as true, gets absorbed without debate. He wasn't being mystical about it. He was being practical. If you want to change what you're assuming about your financial life, that window is not symbolic. It's structural. It's when the assumption actually gets written. Most people spend it reviewing the day, replaying conversations, running through tomorrow's list, and then they wonder why nothing shifts at the level they're trying to reach. 2 minutes before sleep, not visualizing, not affirming, just inhabiting the quiet of someone who is not financially waiting anymore. That's the practice. That's what the prayer actually is, not the performance of abundance. The rest of someone who has stopped asking the question. So I'll leave you with this. The assumption was never something you were supposed to feel. It was something you were supposed to stop arguing against. Most people never get there, not because they lack belief, but because they never put the question down long enough to find out what's underneath it. Put it down tonight.